मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। So we will start our session with Brahma Sangeet by Raja Ram Mohan Roy Institute of Performing and Visual Art. We have our angels with us. All these kids are so sweet. Here we have Onkita Banerjee. Namaskar karo Onkita. Onkita Mondol, Adrija Nondi, Namaskar karo. Abul Pramanik, Sweta Ghosh, Swastika Ghosh. The song is directed by Shri Shobhik Datta and in tabla Shri Tathagatam Malakar. So let us start with their song. Please start. রাজা রামমোহন রায়ের ছবিটা একটু পেছনে দেবার জন্য অনুরোধ এসেছে। We are celebrating this program because of our great Renaissance of Bengal, Raja Ram Mohan Roy's 250th birthday. So we are giving our homage mentally to Ram Mohan Roy. Thank you. Now, one solo. This will be sung by the Shobhit Kapoor. Thank you, children. All of you are lovely children. God bless you.
পরমেশ্বরে স্বরূপ পরমেশ্বরে স্বরে
It is so cooling. So really thank you everybody.
ভয় করে যারে না থাকে অন্যের ভয় ভয় করিলে যারে না থাকে অন্যের ভয় ভয় করিলে না থাকে অন্যের ভয় যাহাতে করিলে প্রীতি জগতের প্রিয় হয় ভয় করিলে যারে জড় মাত্র ছিলে জ্ঞান যেদিন তোমায় জড় মাত্র ছিলে জ্ঞান যেদিন তোমায় সকল ইন্দ্রিয় দিল তোমার সহায় কিন্তু তুমি ভুলো তারে এত ভালো নয় ভয় করিলে যারে না থাকে অন্যের ভয় ভয় করিলে যারে না থাকে অন্যের ভয় যাহাতে করিলে প্রীতি জগতের প্রিয় হয় ভয় করিলে যারে
So much, Kevin. Thank you. Now we are running behind. Even then, I should say here it is written Raja Ram Mohan Roy was in favor of widow remarriage. But we know he is the father of Bengal Renaissance and he stopped child marriage and so many. I have to restrict myself to say all this thing because time is running behind. Let me introduce Dr. Shormisha Devasu, convener of this seminar, and she is the if I say all in all, that is not true, but we all are there with her. She is the main force to this Kolkata Society for Asian Studies. I'm requesting Shormisha come and give this welcome address to us.
Welcome. Welcome and very good morning. Respected President, Dr. Shotobutu Chakraborty, Honorable Guest of Honor, Dr. Goel Bhushan, Director, Anthropological Survey of India, the special guest, Professor K.C. who is online, Vice Chairman, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Institute of Asian Studies, Joint Director, Anthropological Survey of India, Sri Shoshi Kumar, who is in the audience, Head of Office, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, all the Honorable Chairperson, respected speakers, participants of this seminar, heartily welcome you in this inaugural session of the International Seminar on Relevance of the Universal Mission of the Bengali Renaissance for the Sustainable Future of and the world. Welcome to all the advisors, the executive body members, and the general members of Kolkata Society for Asian Studies, respected delegates from the two collaborating institutions, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies and the Anthropological Survey of India, Kolkata. I, as the founder secretary of the Kolkata Society for Asian Studies, the organizing institution of this international seminar, I am privileged to welcome you and host this important dialogue from our organization, Kolkata Society for Asian Studies. Kolkata Society for Asian Studies was founded on 7th December 2012 to explore the possibilities of the societal development of the Asian countries with special reference to India. The organization views the developmental activities of the Asian communities and societies by concentrating on different disciplines of social sciences. As stated in the memorandum, the Kolkata Society for Asian Studies as an academic institution aims to carry out research programs for planning and social welfare to develop and promote activities like lectures, discussions, seminars, field visits, film shows, and cultural programs for the dissemination of knowledge, to undertake field investigations in the areas of archaeology, anthropology, folklore and culture, gender studies, linguistics, etc. for understanding the social issues of the grassroots level, to promote and encourage advancement in literary, cultural, historical and methodical education throughout India and abroad, to explore the possibilities in the fields of Indology, Sinology, Southeast Asian studies, to strengthen the bilateral relations with the neighboring countries of India, to remain in touch with other similar associations of societies in other parts of India and abroad, for exchange of views, to collaborate with disciplines like computer science and information technology, to exchange, to enhance the applied area of the whole developmental program. We publish regularly the UGC clear listed journal, Kolkata Society for Asian Studies. It is a double-blind, peer-reviewed journal with ISSN number. We have published different edited volumes in collaboration with different publishers like Gamchi, Shetu Publication, Sharoda Publication, etc. These books are based on different lectures, seminars and conferences organized by KSAS. We have a small library with journals, books and periodicals also. We regularly organize seminars, conferences, memorial lectures, special lectures, and published its proceedings and correspondence and keep a record. In the pandemic period also, we have tried our best to continue our regular discussions through the workshops, memorial lectures, seminars virtually. We are really happy to organize the two-day international seminar which can highlight Bengal's intellectual, spiritual and physical self-renewal. We also aim to publish those papers as an edited volume. These discussions and publication will help the young generation, especially young scholars, to know their past and also can boost the spirit of Bengali language. This research and publication can bring forward the Bengali legendary figures in front of our country's new generation. The pan-Indian and global implications and significance of Bengal's intellectual, spiritual and physical self-renewal will be examined in a comparative perspective for follow-up action towards a sustainable tomorrow for Bengal, India and the world. The renowned scholars, media personalities, experienced intellectuals who will share and discuss their views today and tomorrow. I am personally thankful to them to accept the invitation and join with their own interest in this seminar. So, this seminar can focus the spirit of Bengali culture and intellect in pan-Indian perspective and create a space in international world. My heartfelt thanks to the Director of Anthropological Survey of India and the Director and Chairman of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies to support Kolkata Society for Asian Studies to organizing this seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharmishta. So already you know, she said in detail. Now I would love to call Dr. Gauri Basu, Director, Anthropological Survey of India. Here it is written guest of honor. Why she's guest? She's of honor, definitely. She's our very own Dr. Gauri Basu. Please come.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this two-day international seminar on the relevance of the universal mission of the Bengali Renaissance for a sustainable future for India and the world. The Kolkata Society for Asian Studies has been doing a lot of good work. I was just going through their journal and I saw several very interesting articles which I will read at leisure a little later. And I have also been going through this book of abstracts. And in this book of abstracts, I have found so much that we can learn and we can also work on. Since my parent job is with the Eastern Zonal Cultural Center and I work with the performing arts, we do spread the message of the Bengal Renaissance, but in our own way. In seminars like this, there is a lot of intellectuals who gather together, share ideas, and also learn from each other. But through our programs, through our audiovisual presentations, through our dance and music presentations, we reach out to a lot more people because we are able to take the message further. We have worked very extensively on Rabindranath and of course Qazi Nazrul Islam. In recent times we have done a very good audio-visual dance presentation on Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and this presentation is being taken to 20 locations across the country. We have done work on Rishi Aurobindo, which we presented, again an audiovisual presentation combined with dance and music, which we had taken to Puducherry, and that too was highly appreciated there. We have worked on Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Swami Vivekananda, Thakur Ramakrishna, and we are currently working on a docu-feature on Bankim Chandra and nationalism. I was just telling Shormishta that what I'm finding missing in the book of abstracts is everyone has been covered, including the dancers, musicians, the theatre personalities. I found that Bankim Chandra somehow is missing. I have not worked on, and what I have learned from this abstract right now, and I'm going to study it more, is we should work more on Uday Shankar and his contribution to taking Indian dance to the world stage, the evolution of theatre during the Bengal Renaissance, and the contribution of the different scientists during the period. The Bengal Renaissance was a movement characterized by a socio-political in the arts, literature, music, philosophy, religion, science, and other fields of intellectual inquiry. The movement questioned the existing customs and rituals in Indian society, most notably the caste system, the dowry system, and the practice of sati, as well as the role of religion and colonial governance. For almost 2 centuries, the Bengal Renaissance saw the radical transformation of Indian society, and its ideas have been attributed to the rise of Indian anti-colonialist and nationalist thought. The philosophical basis of the movement was its unique version of liberalism and modernity. The pioneers and works of this period were revered and continue to be revered and regarded with nostalgia even today. The Bengal Renaissance advocated for societal reform, the kind that adhered to secularist, humanist, and modernist ideals. From Rabindranath Tagore to Satyendra Bose, the movement saw the emergence of important figures whose contributions still influence cultural and intellectual work today. From the mid-18th century, the Bengal province, more specifically its capital city of Kolkata, was the nerve center of British power in India. The region was the base of British imperial rule till the capital was moved to Delhi in 1911. Prior to this, as we know, power was in the hands of the East India Company, which became profitable, influential, and politically quite prominent by establishing diplomatic relations with the local regions. As I said, the Bengali Renaissance originated in the Bengal Presidency, and this colonial metropolis was the first non-Western city to use British methods of teaching in their school system. In 1817, the urban elite, led by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, co-founded the Hindu or the Presidency College in Kolkata, now known as the Presidency University. This was the only European-style institution of higher learning in Asia at that time. The city was also home to a public library, the Imperial Library, now the National Library of India, and newspapers and books were being published regularly, both in English and in Bangla. As Shormishta has also said, and everybody has said, that we always regard Raja Ram Mohan Roy as the father of the Bengal Renaissance. He co-founded the Brahmo Sabha, which was later renamed the Brahmo Samaj by Devendranath Tagore. It was an influential socio-religious reform movement that made significant contributions to the Renaissance as well as to the makings of modern Indian society. Among the many changes that were brought about by the Bengal Renaissance was the development of education, both in the Bengali language and in English. While the Christian missionaries played a very important part in it, but there were also many Bengalis who took a lot of initiative. Before this, all education was at the village level, in village schools which were teaching literacy, and in madrasas and tolls where Arabic and Islamic studies were taught or Sanskrit texts were taught to Brahmins. These were totally exclusively male, and there were very rare instances where girls could get an education, and if they did, it was purely at home. When the East India Company first gave money for education, there was a lot of debate that whether they should support traditional methods of learning in India, which had declined into the lot of patronage, or to introduce a new system based on Western education. Raja Ram Mohan Roy contributed to this debate by writing to the Governor General in 1823, expressing his opposition to the establishment of a Sanskrit college that would foster traditional learning and advocating Western scientific education. Young women were also educated from 1816 onward, and proper educational policy came into being only in 1854. We have to remember the contribution of several people, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Radhakant Dev, David Hare. All of them were part of the Calcutta School Book Society and the Calcutta School Society, and their contributions have been immense. The Bengal School of Art also flourished at this time, and this was a style that originated in Bengal during the Bengal Renaissance period. And it also flourished throughout British India in the early 20th century. This was also known as the Indian style of painting in its early days, and it was associated with the Indian nationalism and Swadeshi movement. This was led by none other than Abanindranath Tagore. The Renaissance also embraced religion in many spheres, and from what I have seen in this abstract, all these are going to be discussed in a lot of detail over these 2 days. This seminar is also trilingual. There are going to be sessions in English, Bangla and Hindi, which gives people an opportunity to choose the language in which they are going to listen to the different talks. I think that is a brilliant idea, and I wish the seminar every success, and I do hope that I can attend 1 or 2 talks. I was very keen on attending a particular talk tomorrow at the valedictory session, but I will be out of Kolkata tomorrow, so I will not be able to attend it, but I am definitely going to try to attend 1 or 2 talks today. Thank you so much, and once again, my best wishes for the seminar.
Thank you so much. What a lovely talk in lucid manner. Thank you so much, Dr. Gaurivasu. Now we are waiting for the presidential address. Now I am requesting our president, Dr. Shottabrata Chakraborty, the president of Kolkata Society for Asian Studies, and he is also the General Secretary of the Asiatic Society. So, sir, please come and give your presidential address. Just wait for 2 minutes because of some internet problem is there. We have to connect the internet. And before that, we have Dr. K.C. Boral. The no internet is showing, that is the problem. The Vice Chairman, Makaya. So we have to wait a little. Let me give you one information. The information is you can have a look at this program in YouTube. You can go to Facebook page, Kolkata Society for Asian Study. There they are doing the YouTube live. So whosoever is having their friend or relatives who is interested to come or who wants to watch all this thing, wants to listen on this, he or she can listen whenever he or she can. So this is a very good information for all of us. Now the online program, Professor K.C. Boral, he is the Vice Chairman and Matthias. He is out of station now. Sir, can you hear me? Professor Boral?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
I can hear you.
now your
Very-
turn.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, very much.
Um,
So,
Okay, thank you very much.
We are requesting Professor K.C. Boral, Vice Chairman, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Center for Asian Studies Institute. I'm very sorry, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies. Sir will speak and we are eagerly waiting to listen to Sir. Professor K.C. Boral. Sir, floor is yours.
In the Anthropological Survey of India Auditorium,
Thank you.
and the officials of Kolkata Society for Asian Studies, Anthropological Survey of India, and Archives. I am thankful to the organizers for inviting me to this program, which I think is very, very important in today's context. And I understand that there was some kind of communication gap at the beginning. I had no telephone number to contact, and I was still confused to know whether the program is on or not. And that should be taken in its stride. And I understand that as we depend on technology sometimes also creates its own problem. Now, talking about this particular theme today, I find it is a very, very loaded concept. There are a lot of things in the title itself. Renaissance, this idiom is very huge in itself. And at the same time, it's a universal application is another area of interest. And the last part of it is sustainable future for India and the world. When you look at this sustainable future of India and the world, it seems that the Renaissance has some message, and that message or the spirit has to be carried forward in a sustainable manner if we want to have some kind of well-being of the individual, the society, and the world at large. Let me start. I am a student of literature. I am very familiar with Renaissance in the West, the 16th century 15th, 16th century Europe. Renaissance in Europe started in many forms, and it has many strands. The sum total of all these strands, as has already been said, socio-cultural, literature and arts, and at the same time there are also scientific revolutions. And one of the revolutions that we come to know that we graduated the thinking, was graduated to a heliocentric worldview instead of worldview. And there was also scientific temper, secularization of society, and the printing press that in the Gutenberg in Germany. And the Gutenberg also published the first vernacular Bible. So many things happened. Science, technology, philosophy, art, architecture, all these things happened. Therefore, when we try to define what is the Renaissance, it has been many ways, but there are some kind of conjuncted words which need to be remembered when we talk about the Renaissance. Reform, resurgence, reawakening. There are people, they define it in many ways, but all these terms, along with scientific revolutions, also appear on the theme of the Renaissance. It is a kind of awakening of the human mind to look into and beyond the societal formations and at the same time to the wider universe in order to assimilate some kind of universal principles that could actually be useful for the whole world. Now the essence of the Renaissance, which emerged out of the deep journeys, is humanism. Humanism is at its core. And this has continued, let us say, for many years after, if you look at the philosophical tradition, starting from Descartes to Kant to modernity, and it has emerged or allied with what is called the project of enlightenment that we talk about modernity. Now, this is in brief about the Western kind of Renaissance that happened. Now, coming to Bengal Renaissance, it is very heartening to note that there was a kind of awakening happened in Bengal in many fronts. As we have already noted, this is 250 years of Raja Rammohn Roy and 150 years of Sri Aurobindo. And there are others, those who follow it. My point is talking about the spirit that Raja Rammohn Roy was capable of building around. We call it a reform, we call it a resurgence, we call it a kind of internal scrutiny of our cultural direction. All these things resulted in a kind of efflorescence in literature, in the hands of Tagore, in a more refined, nuanced way of spirituality in the hand of Vivekananda. And at the same time, there are others, those who have contributed to art, architecture, painting, music, and all these things. And even it is mentioned that Satyendra was also a Renaissance figure. The cinema is all about the human condition. Now, all these things happened, which incidentally gave birth to what is called our awakened Renaissance. That we fought against the British, and at the same time, we also got our independence. All these things have two aspects. One is the intellectual aspect, the ideas, the received ideas from the West, or let us say some kind of concept that was derived from the French Revolution about human freedom, and at the same time, our social reform. The nationalist awakening hand in hand with social reform, and also for education. The aspiration towards a global kind of education, so that you can extend your ideas in a better way. Now, all these things happened and Bengal took the lead. Bengal took the lead. But at the same time, I would like to, because my way of looking at things is a little different. Because Bengali Renaissance is a historical moment. But I want to differentiate the historical moment a little bit from a cultural moment, that has there been other awakenings in India. See, there could be one awakening that has happened or ushered in by Buddha, because I am connecting it not only with the Buddhist thought or as a reaction against Hinduism, but at the same time the enrichment of a Pali language. Pali language. Now, language is a very important thing, because if a language is not developed and enriched, we cannot think of, rich and great literature. Now, in the same way, in the 16th century, when the Bhakti movement started spreading across India, Bhakti movement actually is a wonderful period in Indian history, even if it is still called medieval. I think this is a moment of historical understanding of India's awakening. Bhakti movement has got many directions. It has a reformistic agenda. It also has the spiritual awakening of uniting all sects around one name or one faith or one deity. And at the same time, it calls across all kind of caste barriers. And you will find that Namdev and Guru Nanak and Chaitanya and so many, there are so many figures at the same time, so many personalities at the same time. And this is also a moment of awakening, even if it is predominantly called spiritual. But there is another thing which is actually underlying this movement, that is to produce great literature. You will be surprised to know that most of the vernacular writing started during this time. And all the kind of transcreations of Mahabharata and Ramayana started during this time in many Indian vernacular writings. And that itself is also a kind of a resurgence, that we are not bound by only the Sanskrit texts. We can also produce our own text in our own language. And ultimately, there is a strand that motivated Indian writers or vernacular writers to move forward. And ultimately, we saw the possibility of a great figure of Tagore, in whose writing, the world has recognized, and ultimately, the Nobel for Tagore is actually the victory of the Bengali Renaissance and the spirit of awakening of the Indian mind. I would say like that. And this is where, whether it is the anti-colonial struggle, whether it is ideological conflict in India or whatever, India has got a very broad frame of the human response. This is where I come to the last part of my talk, talking about what was India's humanism, how universal was the Indian humanism. And if we are talking about the sustainability of that spirit of humanism from India, that has actually energized the whole concept of the Renaissance in Bengal, it needs to be very carefully studied. That the humanism that India has offered, because look at the West, the humanism emerged out of a lot of churning from many kind of revolutions that came into formation. But in India, it was already there. That has been also in the theme paper Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now, this is a great idea, that if the world is not one, if humanity is not one, then humanism for whom? That is a very big concept. And when we talk about let us say Vivekananda, we talk about Aurobindo, they all talked about the humanity at large. They are not sectarian, they are not talking about my people or others, they are talking about universe. And this is where we look at the sustainability. And when you look at this particular sloka, which is very important, that the Udara Charita, the generous heart, can embrace Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, not the narrow-minded. The sloka is very explicit. Now, what is narrow-mindedness? And the times that we are living in, very complex, and we live in divided societies, and there is a competition or aspiration towards power in whatever form, whatever way, Now, these are some of the elusive factors of that consolidated universal concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. If that is the spirit, according to my understanding, maybe I may not be, may not have understood the spirit properly, or if I have understood it properly, that now the concern of academicians, intellectuals, and everybody has to be how we need to sustain that unified humanity so that it could be sustainable. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I thank all the officials once again, and it is a great honor to be associated with this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It is really wonderful. We are enriched. You have given us food for our thought, really. So we are really, really thankful to you, sir. Now we are running short. That is why I am directly going to request Honorable Dr. Shotabrata Chakraborty present for his presidential address. Sir, please.
So good morning to everybody. Respected Gauri Basu, Director, Anthropological Survey of India. Joint Director is of course hiding behind Dr. Shashi Kumar and other officials of the survey, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, Head of Office. My colleague Sharmishta, she is also missing from the dais. Our compare Dr. Rita Bhattacharya, online Professor Boral, and my distinguished colleagues, friends, and all others who are watching it online. This is a very rare operation on the part of all of us, because a very historical moment is refelt, redesigned, re-examined in various senses of the term. Since I would not be able to enter into every aspect of it, and I have at the moment an escape route with me to hide my ignorance, in the sense that we are running behind this schedule. We have already been warned number of times, and as per the schedule, I am sure you are feeling the schedule, it is tea time. So what I can do is, I would only touch upon 2-3 areas or points on which maybe speakers will deliberate in course of their presentations. Now the question of Renaissance, is it a time frame in terms of a historical moment? Is it a movement in terms of intellectual explorations? Is it a package of action in terms of performance? If it is, what is the origin? What is the origin? Is it the ruler? The ruled? Where from its principle? what extent it reaches, the impact, and the question of sustainability. Does it only begin and end in a time frame? If it is 19th century Indonesia, it means theoretically 1801 to 1900. But it has its past, it has its continuity which will lead us to the future. And imagine for a moment we are making in the Anthropological Survey of India, one of the collaborators of this program, whose particular assignment was to study the evolution of human being in terms of its biological endowment and also in terms of its cultural endowment, where we would explore the possibility of human faculty, evolution of human faculty, from which follows all kinds of ideas, idealism, etc., etc. And it had its origin in the Asiatic Society, the organization which I represent at the moment as General Secretary, which came in 1784. So whatever we have found in 1800 onward had its origin in the past, immediate past, and that was the Asiatic Society. And when we examine the further developments throughout the entire 19th century, followed up to 20th, we find the same seed there, from where sprang up all the institutions we can think of, all individuals in terms of their intellectual engagement, either in the field of art, science, history, and all that. So, by and large, what we are trying to explore or re-examine again to see the kernel of it. Finally, what really was left by way of a message. This is rationalism, this is individualism, this is secularism, humanism. And all these messages were combined in all the minds who had a great combination of East and the West. They had drawn their cultural roots from the root of this country via studying the language, and they expanded their field of domain of knowledge by engaging themselves in the study of English through that language to the other world. Apart from that, each one of them were polyglot. Take any name, more than 3, 4, even dozens of languages they have mastered. So, if we can reduce in a sentence, what did they do is, they wanted to deepen their root in terms of their own cultural experience and widen their horizon in terms of intellectual expanse in the field of history, arts and science. And that was accidentally meeting point of a century which we have termed as Renaissance. And that really came out of our interaction or confrontation, or what we can say is a kind of idealistic or ideological battle in terms of our expanse of knowledge. And that was the British rule, from which the whole reaction emanated, because they wanted us only to become subservient to their cause, but not beyond. And from which we came out, some of our followers, whom we are remembering now after 250 years, after 200 years, 250 years for Ram Mohan, 200 years for Vidyashagar, 150 years for Aurobindo, 125 years for Netaji, and like that. This is only a representative coverage that we have taken into our program, but beyond nth number of individuals are there who contributed to the whole regeneration of ideas in this country, and the message that still persists and which we should take for our further expanse in terms of the sustainable development in the beyond Bengal, in India and beyond India and the whole of the world. That is the message of tolerance, message of universal brotherhood, message of universal humanism and mutual tolerance for each one's culture, and which the lesson that we learn from the researches of the Anthropological Science meeting, and which again I repeat and end that Asiatic society, which was the real center of excellence of knowledge in this country, beyond and after the Renaissance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And given this short span of time, what you said is brilliant. Really, especially in West Bengal. I'm so proud to be in West Bengal and Indian. So really, West Bengal, it was in 19th century, it was a galaxy of all these stalwarts. In each and everything, wherever you see, there is a galaxy, and if you go to the world, they will ask any one name, and that is from Kolkata. I'm really blessed, I feel, really. Now I just love to call upon Dr. Umesh Kumar, Head of Office, Anthropological Survey of India, for vote of thanks. And let me apologize. I don't know, I got some information, I have called you or not this, I'm a little bit confused. If I do anything wrong, this is my mistake. Please, come.
Good morning to all of you. Now we are at the tag end of the today's inaugural function of 2 days of relevance, 2 days of seminar on relevance of universal mission of Bengali Renaissance for a sustainable future for India and the world. And at the outset, I express my sincere thanks to the special guest of this occasion, Madam Gauri Basu, who happens to be also our director, the director of the Anthropological Survey of India, for delivering her a special lecture, wherein she mentioned about how this 200 years of Bengal Renaissance touched every aspect of society, and its impact is still being felt. I also thank Professor K.C. Bora, who is Vice Chairperson of Maulana Abul Kalam Institute of Asian Studies, for giving his today's keynote address on this inaugural function. Thanks also goes to Dr. S.B. Chakravarti, who is the president of this Kolkata Society for Asian Studies, as well as he is also the General Secretary of Asiatic Society, for giving his presidential address, wherein he mentioned that the gist of Bengal Renaissance that its universal brotherhood, humanism, and to find relevance in the present society. I also thank all the members of Kolkata Institute of Asian Studies who toiled day and night to make this program a success. I also extend vote of thanks to the collaborating institutes, that is Anthropological Survey of India, and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies for extending financial collaborations. And I also thank all the distinguished participants, guests, and all those other members who are working behind the scene to make this program a success. Thank you. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So now this inaugural session is over. There is a little announcement. The who is in Bengali session, please be in this hall after the tea break. Tea break was 11 to 11:15, but now 11:20. So we will give tea break for 10 minutes. We will start our next session at 11:30. Is it okay for you? If it is okay, the Bengali session people, please come here, and who are participating and speaking, the panelists, they please go to the conference room, regional building. It is most probably in second floor, if I am not wrong, and that is Anthropological Survey of India, obvious. So we will meet at 11:30. I will make the in English session and in Bangla session. যারা বাংলা সেশনে থাকবেন তারা প্লিজ এখানে এসে যাবেন 11:30. Tea is there outside this hall. You go turn right, you can see, and our volunteers are there. They will escort you, they will help you. Please have tea and snacks. I know you all are very hungry, even myself. So we will have tea and snacks. This is our breakfast, and then again we will start with our full zeal. Thank you everybody.